We then proceeded at that point into our simulated countdown.
Lunchtime, kids! All right!
Yum, 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 yum.
Hello, friends. It's lunchtime.
And welcome back to this happy Wednesday afternoon. I am Josh in full studio. We're all back together again for one more day. Zach, Matt, Anna, we're all here talking to you. An exciting show today. A lot of things on the docket. Have a guest coming in at 12:40. A lot of things to look forward to. You're not going to want to go anywhere. But for starters, we gotta, when we make a mistake here on the lunch break show, we all call each other out. We don't let things just slide by. And something happened last night that was more impactful than the hailstorm itself. It was how we reacted.
I didn't even know there was a hailstorm last night. I looked at the map and it just completely missed me.
Yeah. Oh, and I see online there's tons of photos of people sharing, oh my gosh, look at this. Woke me up at 1:30. I couldn't go back to sleep.
It's the size of my baby's head.
Yeah, it was huge. I don't think it didn't affect Plano for the first time ever. I've had 2 new roofs in 2 years. So I think for the first time there's a hailstorm that happened in Dallas that did not.
Do you feel like you're missing out?
Yeah, it feels weird not getting a brand new
Look at
roof.
that thing.
Yeah, it's huge. The size of your palm.
Yeah.
Everyone
It's
at
like a grapefruit.
DFW was like texting about it. Is everyone okay? How's the damage? Meanwhile, at our very own Zach Lewis's apartment.
The quiet abode.
The quiet abode, yeah.
We'll take you now to the interior of Zach's apartment.
Yeah, so cut to, sleeping, and they're on the 3rd floor, so they're getting the heat of it.
They're closest to the hail.
Yeah, they're closest to the hail, so they're hearing things. Zach, I want you to take a moment and describe to me what happened.
All right. First off, I want to thank you for that. That brilliant cover while I'm trying to orchestrate all this in here. Normally Matt's position does a great job. I'm not doing so hot. We'll get there. Secondly, solid segue. Way to underscore the actual hail damage that happened to people and imply that this is more important than people's cars. And third, yes, the story. So Christine, my beau, who I'm a big fan of, if you didn't know, she's not a fan of averse weather, which is okay. There's a lot of things to not be fans of. Some people don't like clowns. Some people don't like Josh. Some people don't like weather.
Wow.
And
Wow.
I think it'd be great if I was switching in here to like actually see what you guys are doing. So Christine's not a fan of averse weather, and being springtime in Texas, sometimes we get tornadoes. And I'm sure you're more familiar now than you ever were before.
Indeed.
Yes.
Yeah, are there tornadoes in Portugal?
They're actually started happening now because of
what's that?
crazy weather
Yeah.
changes, and it's not a common thing. I only heard about it when I moved here and seeing it on the news. But because I moved probably like you in the middle of Dallas, we're kind of safer. But please.
Yeah, they don't hit in the middle of Dallas all that often.
Yeah.
No.
We're good. We're safe. But Zach.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Go
go
ahead. Sorry.
no, go ahead.
I know I'm dragging this out. I
Yeah,
shouldn't.
yeah. Zach is going to try to paint himself in the best light possible. So I'll take over.
A lot of hedging
No,
here.
let me finish my story. All right, I'll get to the goods. Right. So Christine's not a fan of bad weather, and last night it hailed out in Valley View where I'm at. And the hail is coming down. I mean, it was golf ball size to like 2 inches in diameter. So pretty good size hail, I think. And Christine wakes me up It sounds like the heavens are raining down on the apartment. We're on the 3rd floor. This stuff is hitting the roof. You hear it dinging off cars outside.
So this wasn't waking you up, like the sound of literal baseballs striking the top of your apartment?
No. I'm a pretty heavy sleeper. We talked about this before. Josh is the same way.
Yeah.
Like, man, I'll sleep through anything. It does not matter to me. And she wakes me up and is like, oh my God, do you hear what's happening right now? And I kind of sit up like, yeah, this is a good one. Real rager out there, sure. And she's like, okay, listen, I'm going to go, and again, it's like 1:45 in the morning. Wasn't exactly wide awake, so excuse me for butchering this. But she's like, listen, I think I'm going to go call my mom and, like, just hang out in the closet for a little while and, like, just kind of hunker down and, like, do my thing. And I was like, okay, well, here, do you want me to get up? She goes, no, you...
Did you offer? Did you, in fact, offer to go and comfort her in the closet?
Are you painting it better than it actually happened? Or did you just like...
Or did she give you an out and you took it?
I don't remember.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Clearly, I was invested in this. So I said, hey, you want me to get up? And she said, no, go ahead, keep sleeping. And I was like, great. See you tomorrow.
My son, you have so much to learn.
45 minutes this hail rained on the apartment. I was awake for maybe a minute of it, tops, fully. Slept like a baby. I feel great. Got a good night's rest.
Yeah. Meanwhile, she's cowering in the closet.
Yes.
Yeah. Christine was up half the night. Couldn't sleep.
Christine did comment and say, no, he didn't. He did not offer to go in
The truth.
She said you're fine and she's not mad at you.
Right.
But she did not.
Let's get the story straight while we're doing it.
I just want to say, yes, the physical damage of what the hail did in the DFW is horrible.
Sure.
The emotional damage that you may have done is much worse.
You can't pull those dents out.
Anytime your significant other, and at this point in time, I don't want to say girlfriend because she's so much more than that to you. Mm-hmm. Your significant other says I am going to go call my mom and be in the closet. That is never a good thing for you. Nothing good comes out of that for you.
Right.
Ever. Ever. So
you're making a lot of sense right now.
So what you should have done, like, no, there's no need to wake your mom up, who I'm going to guess does not live in Dallas-Fort Worth.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
Used to.
I will accompany you in the closet, and we'll have some hot cocoa, and we'll ride this thing out together, arm in arm, hand in hand, just like we have been for the last 7, 8, 9, 10 years, together forever doing this process. That is the response you should have had instead of the, okay, cool.
See you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Look, gentlemen, you have to understand where I'm coming from here.
Sure.
When you wake up at 1:45 in the morning, I don't want to say I can't be responsible for my actions, but like,
no.
Come on, like you wake up in the middle of an REM cycle, you don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Like you're stunned and you can't keep up with what's happening. I haven't fully woken up yet. I was disabled. I didn't have my wits about me, I guess.
Tired Zach is writing checks that awake Zach is now going to have to cash.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
I'll tell you this. There has been several times, because just like you, I'm a heavy sleeper. Storms come rolling in, rolling out, dogs freak out, babies cry. I'm out of it. Unless my wife nudges me to wake me up, there's a 99.9% chance I'm not waking up on my own.
Right.
When it's 2 a.m., 3 a.m., and when you're in the heat of sleep. Mm-hmm. Oh, is this the response? Is this the response we're having here?
Yeah. The response
So this is what was posted on Instagram?
And it could have been shout out to Zach. But no, Zach was quietly getting those very important hour and a half of sleep that
just cowering in the control room.
Look, we had a busy day today. I understand.
Yeah,
we had a very busy day.
Here's the response. I woke up and saw Christine had posted something on her Facebook story, which was a cross post from Instagram. So this went to 2 different social media sites. Here it is. Shout out to my mom for answering the phone at 1:45 a.m. when I called having a small panic attack about severe weather. I slept great.
Well, Zach, the important thing is that she was still there when you woke up. And that's the most important thing. That's the takeaway here. It's a lesson learned.
I love how Megan jumps on the conversation as well, which, by the way, is Matt's significant other.
You're right.
And says, I don't know if Matt would stay up with me. He definitely would stay up with the dogs.
Yeah, we have one dog in particular who, I mean, she could hear thunder 10 miles away, and she's under the
Wow.
bed. So yeah, I'll hold her, and I know that's probably not what you're supposed to do when you have a dog because it trains them for poor behavior. But I can't help it, and she looks so miserable when she's cowering and her ears are down and hiding underneath the bed. So
well, but dogs can have heart attacks because of the thunder.
sure, yeah.
So I would hold all the dogs.
Yeah.
I do not judge you at all. I'll be the same one.
yeah, so I have done that on a few occasions.
I will say this: your spouses and girlfriends and significant others are all would handle this much better than mine did. Because there's a similar situation, not quite, maybe a little bit worse. When my wife, our baby was maybe 3 months, 4 months tops. I was again sound asleep, laying there in bed, and I heard the dogs barking. This was like 3 a.m. and she's in the living room feeding the baby in there. Mm-hmm. I'm in the bedroom asleep. Dogs bark, not uncommon. It is weird to hear them bark at like 3 a.m., but it could have been a car alarm or something. I don't know. And so I just yell, "Be quiet, be quiet," and I fall right back to sleep.
Right.
15 minutes later, my wife runs into the room yelling at me because there was someone at the door at 2 a.m., and the dogs were barking and shit because the guy knocked on the door.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, at 2 a.m. And my wife is in the living room, right there, feeding our child.
Are there windows like someone at the door could see?
You could kind of see him, but it's like that, like broken, like foggy,
like frosted.
You frosted, but you can still see through it. But you have to kind of like look around to get the best image. Either way, man, she was, and rightfully so, upset with me for just being like, quiet, dogs, and then rolling back over to fall asleep. Oh yeah. I totally dropped the ball on that one.
Yeah.
That was totally my fault. We ended up calling 911.
Wow.
Well, because he knocked like 3 times.
Yeah.
And you always read about reports about guys that knock on the front door and then they'll come around the back door if no one answers the front door. So
what happened?
The cop thinks that it was someone that had the wrong house.
Okay.
He's like, it may have been the wrong house. He goes, it's very uncommon at 3 a.m. for someone to knock on the door.
Right, that's not the best home invasion angle
works,
at 3 a.m.
Yeah, that works at 3 p.m. or 2 p.m., but not really at night. At night, they just try to like sneak in.
Yeah, or
so
kick the door down.
You just like scream from the inside. What do you want?
I mean, I think she didn't want to let anyone know that she was in there. I don't know. It was a whole lot of stuff going on. Either way,
yeah.
My response was not the best. Of the times that I've been tapped to jump in and to take over as the fearless protector, I've done that 9 times out of 10. This was that 10th time when I totally slept through it. So,
I think it's important to note, as a footnote to this, that Christine knows me so well that she knows that I could sleep through it and that she can't, and she would rather I get good sleep for a long day at work where I have to deal with you chuckleheads than have to have to get up and stay up late. I think if she could sleep in, she could, she would, and yeah. She's a pretty rad gal.
She does sound like she's a pretty rad gal. Because again, I don't think I would have gotten the same leisurely. It's okay. Go back to bed.
Yeah, it would have been like if I'm gonna be up, you're gonna be up with me.
We're all up together. We're all in this together. We're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, we have another exciting story. Oh, sorry.
Ooh, hold on.
Another exciting story out of the news headlines where a teacher gives a class clown award and it backfires. That and more on the lunch break show coming up next.
talking about the world of inflation, you guys, you probably notice, is that a good thing or not a good thing? Inflation.
I'm sorry, the question again, Dave?
Is inflation in our world a good thing or not a good thing?
It depends upon what the topic is. What are we talking about? Generally, inflation. If you have an inflatable boat, that's a good thing.
If you heard the word, right? But generally, when you hear the word inflation,
not economically.
Something good come to mind?
For me, yeah.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you that you're right about, if you say good, you're right, because this is the world of inflatables. Give yourselves a nice round of applause, everybody. These are just the volunteers coming out here today.
This is the weirdest segue
and Eddie,
ever.
It only gets worse from there.
Oh my
Let me just
God.
say, that's a bit. If you're that reporter, that's a bit you work out with your anchor ahead of time. You don't just throw that on them and be like, oh, he's gonna catch this pitch.
Because that's the deal, is that was one of those cuts that he thought, I don't need to talk to this guy. He's doing an inflatable story.
Yeah, like
he does not need to pitch back to me.
Yeah. Talking about segues, that did not go smoothly.
That was phenomenal. So another story of a possible good deed that backfired horribly. This takes place at a Lafayette. I think our talkback mics are still on.
Is it?
Huh?
I'm gonna be honest. I never turned them on. I don't know how that happened. Wait a minute.
Am I just going crazy?
Yeah, I don't know what's causing that
cool.
bit of feedback.
Just power through it.
There you go. There's a school out of Lafayette that had a, you know how at the end of the year they have the award to somebody that go out, like, hey, most popular, most likely to succeed. Well, this kid won a class clown award.
Wow.
And the grandmother and the great aunt were not happy about the award. Immediately after, they posted online and they said, I wish in the future, I think this was meant to publicly humiliate him. In the future, I wish they would say most funny, which is not proper.
That's not necessarily what that means.
Yeah, either way. Most funny or next motivational speaker. And as someone who has been nominated as the class clown, I think that's what it's entitled to do. Because for me, many of the teachers' feedback to my parents were, if your son spent half the time that he did trying to make his students laugh as he did studying, he would be a honor roll. But he doesn't focus in school. He just tries to make jokes and cut up in class.
Yeah.
And that's why he's receiving this award, because that's what he did well. He didn't study well. He didn't practice well. He didn't learn much. But he did make a lot of kids laugh and distracted them and brought their educational experience down as well. So I think so here's my here's my thing.
Yeah, so this kid won the class clown and the most talkative award,
which goes hand in hand.
I would think so.
Yeah,
and right, they're claiming that it was to shame this young Hayden Albert.
Yeah,
grade 1.
I don't think, and maybe it was, and if it was, I think that it's a weak attempt to shame someone. But at the end of the day, so again, as you have experiences, your life view changes. I think 2 years ago, I'd have been like, ugh, parents need to get over it. My mom and dad all the time had to deal with me being a class clown, and they never once was like, the teacher shouldn't label you that. They're like, you should pay more attention in school. Like, you should stop talking, don't sit. And so that at a very early age, I had to sit in the front of the class. If I wasn't sitting front and in front of the teacher's desk, my parents would get mad at me. So I would have to talk to every single teacher. Is it possible for me to sit in the front and right in front of your desk? Otherwise, my mom and dad will get mad.
Is that so they can keep an eye on you?
Yeah, because I like to sit in the back and do the
paper airplanes,
do the arm sounds. Sure. Yeah, just the normal kid stuff. And so my mom's like, you're much less likely to do that when you don't have an audience to perform to. So that was for me. It was like, it wasn't the school's fault. It was my son's fault for not participating the way that he should.
Yeah.
And I like that mentality much more than I like the mentality of, I'm going to blame the teacher for calling my son a class clown. Because she didn't say he was stupid. It didn't say, it wasn't necessarily a derogatory term. But it does signify what you did that year.
Yeah, and again, this is sort of an incomplete picture because I don't know what it was like when they handed out these awards. I mean, were all these awards a little tongue-in-cheek? Was there a teacher's pet award? Was there, like whatever? However, I can't think of other awards.
Dog ate my homework award.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Always late to class award or whatever. But were these handed out in a fun way? Oh, look, it's the class clown. Everybody loves Hayden. He's so funny. Was it that way, or was it? Well, you sure didn't apply yourself this year, young man, and here's your class clown award, and this is the best you can hope for. So I think a lot of it comes down to how was that presented to him, and how did he take it.
I think also, if you're looking at it, let's just pretend that she was doing it as a teachable moment. I think it's a dumb approach, because for me, I never took that as a teachable. I think that's like a badge of honor, and it only encouraged me to do more bad behavior.
Yeah,
because now I have a rep to live up to.
Now you got a certificate.
Yeah. I gotta own it now. Every day I go out and gotta earn this badge that I was given as being the class clown. So I gotta up my game, because the other kids who were kind of funny and borderline disruptive, they're coming.
What if they beat you next year?
Yeah, they're coming to take the crown. And so for me, it backfired.
Is there anything wrong with that? Like, I think if kids want anything, it's to feel like they matter, and like being put on some kind of pedestal, feeling like you are the best at something you do is important. That's why we have sports, right? So kids can learn that. And if you're not good at basketball, and if you can't sing and you can't dance, but you can make people laugh, and you get an award for that, isn't that a good thing? Isn't that a positive experience for a kid? I don't see that as a particularly negative thing.
The only thing that's bad about it is if they have like the most improved student, the best speller, the most, again, it goes into the context of what the awards were. If it was like great, honorable, smart, and then class clown.
Here's the dumb A award.
Yeah, exactly. That paints a different picture. And so again, I don't think publicly shaming has ever worked on anyone with a positive outcome. I think instead, you have one of two choices, because I think a lot of times what these schools try to do is everybody gets an award. Everyone gets a paper. Everyone gets something, because you don't want to leave when you didn't.
This kid got two.
This kid got two. Yeah. But at the end of the day, so you can have two things. Either one, we're only going to highlight the students who did well. And so if you're in the top, again, this sounds so dumb, the top 10% of your first grade class, or whatever it is, then if you colored, I'm not sure what they do in the first grade anymore, but if you spelled all your spelling words correctly, and you did the math correctly, and all those different kinds of things, then you get honored for that. And if you didn't, you don't. So you have that possibility, but I have a feeling that grandma and great aunt would not have liked that either, because he deserves something.
Can I hit you with a hot take?
Please.
You know who the real victim is here? The teacher.
Oh, really? I almost said, yeah, totally. Then I'm like, what? Why? Why is she?
Right. Yeah. Why is the teacher the victim? Here's why. Because teachers, like, if you don't know, teachers don't make a lot of money. They don't, right? Teachers often have to buy their own papers and pencils and scantrons for teachers in higher education. But for first grade, like Mrs. What was her name? Miss? Could have been a Mister for all I know.
It wasn't. It was definitely a piss.
I can't remember.
I don't know her name.
I think it started with a B. I saw it on the certificate earlier.
Byers, I'm going to go with. She's got to put all this stuff together. The school isn't like, hey, here's your awards that we put together for you. Dish them out accordingly. She had to go to the trouble to make this stuff. She had to take the time to print out 2 different awards for this kid. I don't have the image up, actually. Just cut to the lunch break logo.
I think it was Jennifer or something.
She had to take the time to, like, make this stuff and put it together. And, like, for the one kid who has given her, without a doubt, as class clown, the most grief out of the whole year, she takes the time to go, you know what, this kid gets 2 things and a freaking clown nose, because why not? She goes to the store, she picks that stuff up. She didn't have to do that. She's practically making minimum wage. And then when she puts this all together to say, hey, listen, you were a lot of trouble, but, like, I want you to know in a way it meant something. And I
appreciate
want you to remember
you.
this. Yeah, with this cool thing that you did. What? The grandma and aunt jumped down her throat because suddenly she's the bad guy and she's shaming him? What is that? Like, really? How is she?
I guess people see it differently, and they were just like, my kid could not be traumatized. But I gotta say something. I just think that nowadays you get an award for anything, and then you get to like work, life, and everything, and you just gotta work so hard for everything. And sometimes you work really hard for a very long time, and you don't see any fruits of your hard work. So, why bother giving awards to kids?
Yeah,
I'm saying
Just
this,
don't
like,
do it at all.
The thing is that they're going to. That portion will never stop. The two issues I have is, I'm looking more at the teacher, and I can't find her name, but I'm looking more at the teacher and the classroom pictures, and it's not like she singled any kid out. First off, this kid Hayden was dressed to the nine. See that nice button-down green shirt and a black vest?
No,
That
I
kid,
didn't see that.
he looks sharp. So first, he came prepared on award day. I think what really happened is that the grandma and the aunt had no idea how Hayden behaved Monday.
Right,
Maybe,
and the sharp dressed outfit will hinder my parenting point, which I'm about to make. But go ahead.
From day one until the next to the last day of school, they had no idea what Hayden was doing.
Right, what he was up to.
Yeah, and it came award day, and they went and they polished him up, they shined him up, and he was on his best behavior, walking in like he was the sweetest kid in the world.
Yeah,
and that's when the mom and the grandma and the aunt realized, oh, okay, Hayden's the class clown. Because again, the other kids are wearing normal school clothes. Hayden's wearing the black vest, the green slacks. Again, he's in Sunday best.
Yep.
And so I think that was a rude awakening. And when you get a rude awakening, your first reaction is to become defensive. I think that's what happened with grandma and the great aunt, is they became defensive. What I don't like about their post on Facebook, it'd be one thing to be like, I would appreciate in the future if we changed it to be like funny. Or whatever, because a clown is something that I don't want my son to associate himself with. Which I think that's a fair point to make.
Yeah.
I don't want him to be a clown. Funny is one thing that you can say, hey, my son's funny. No one wants to be called a clown.
Right.
Unless you're actually a clown. But outside of that, they put on their Facebook page, #Justice for Hayden.
Oh, God.
And the epic eye roll that I did when I saw that. Because now you're becoming like, you're blaming society for what happened to this kid. As a fellow class clown, it is entirely my fault. It is no one else's fault that I was disruptive, that I was rude. There were a handful of teachers I wish I could go. They're probably dead now. Wish I could go and apologize to them face to face for just the agony. Because those are the ones that I could tell I got under their skin, and I loved it.
Made it that much better.
Oh, yeah. And I would just root around under their skin and push every button I could to make them fire off and say things that were irrational and didn't make any sense.
Just giving them a reason to smoke.
Oh, yeah, because some 13-year-old punk was just totally pushing buttons because you can't touch me. Totally. Yeah. I think that is a definite thing. I don't blame the teacher. I do agree with we should change our vocabulary around calling someone a class clown. I do think saying, hey, funny, because you can't say goof off. And again, either you have a world where everyone gets an award, or you have an award where you only get positive awards. If you weren't positive, you don't get one.
Yeah.
Decide which society we want to live on, and let's pick a lane.
I think using grandma and great aunt is telling here. Clearly, they're old school, right?
Yep.
Clearly, they have some old ways of thinking.
I would be the one thinking, oh, maybe they are the ones that like he deserved it.
Yeah.
You know, he was. I would think.
Well, what's surprising here is class clown is an old term. That's not like a new thing. The kids, know, that's
but
not.
It's negative. No one goes, oh, that guy's a class clown. Oh, I wanna shake his hand.
Right.
No one thinks that. I think now, like it's like it becomes funny because of movies and things. But the class clown back in their day had to wear the dunce cap and sit in the corner.
Yeah.
Right.
And so it's a different ideology. I just think that for them, they were shocked and surprised that their angel turned out not to be the angel that they thought he was.
Right.
And they lash out at the school, which is kind of unfair.
And let's cool it with the justice hashtag.
Yeah, please.
Come on.
That's
justice for the lunch break.
yeah. Start it.
Hashtag. Get out there, people.
Justice for the lunch break.
Yeah. We're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, we have a story of either the best or the worst obituary I've ever seen.
Oh, wow.
Lots of fun.
Lots of fun. That's a good kind.
Helping, just.
Helping everybody. Celine, what do you think?
I didn't hear the question. I'm sorry.
What kind of fun do you think you can find here today? All kinds? All kinds of fun? Bouncing fun? Yeah, I think so, because this is a place where kids and families can come and kind of bounce around, but you need something, and I'm going to have everyone do it like a magic chant. All right, you guys ready? Because when we're talking inflatables, you need something that's been inflated. Are you guys ready? Yeah. All right, here we go. Repeat after me. Abracadabra, 1, 2, 3.
Abracadabra, 1, 2, 3.
Now it's time to see.
Okay, we're going to leave you on pins where that
Oh,
goes.
my
Because again,
goodness.
it only gets worse from there. I don't know. The only excuse for this bit going as long as it have, we've all worked in broadcasting. The only reason is there's a producer in his ear going, "Hey, we've lost feed here in the
We
studio.
got time to kill, brother.
Yeah, you got to stretch for 5 minutes on this story because that's the only example that
Either
you could
that
have.
or the producer went to the bathroom and got locked out of the control room.
Oh my gosh! So the conclusion of that on the next break,
And it gets better, folks.
Yeah.
It gets better.
Can't wait. I
So,
can't wait.
this is trending. Maybe you've seen it now, maybe you haven't, but it is by far either, again, the best or the worst obituary I've ever seen. Do we have that? Do we have that footage up?
I don't know if we have a picture of it, do we?
Oh, the obituary?
Yeah.
No, not at all.
Oh,
no,
great.
give me a couple minutes.
Okay,
Yeah, I'll
that's
have that.
fine. So this woman, I'm now pulling.
Should
up
have
the
thought
story.
to pull that picture.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Whatever.
I got it. Hold on.
All right.
Oh, no.
You do
So,
that.
so the story is this woman passes away, and
Very sad.
Yeah, and the family writes a super honest and super short thing for their mom. Now, as you're going through it, there's like 5 paragraphs, and it's pretty short, and you go, okay, all right, and then whoa, wait, and then wow, and those are the
Starts to take a turn.
Yeah, it takes a bit of a turn.
There we
and
go.
So yeah, this comes out of Minneapolis. And go ahead, Matt. You can give that a quick
Read
pre-through.
this.
Yeah.
Kathleen Demlow Shunk, in parentheses, was born March 19th, 1930. It's cut off for me, but 1930-something. 1938 to Joseph and Gertrude Shunk of Wabasso. She married Dennis Demlow at St. Anne's in Wabasco in 1957, had 2 children, Gina and Jay.
And that's good. All
Yeah,
right, so far.
that's great. These are all the people that were important in her life.
Yep.
Well, we can't
I
read.
realize there's a whole line you're going to have to stumble
Yeah.
over.
Yeah. Oh, hold on.
You
Do you have it here?
Yeah.
You got it pulled up?
Yeah. In 1962, she became pregnant. Sounds good. By her husband's brother, Lyle Demlow, and moved to California. She abandoned her children, Gina and Jay, who were then raised by her parents in Clements, Mr. and Mrs. Joseph Shunk. She passed away on May 31st, 2018 in Springfield and will now face judgment. She will not be missed by Gina and Jay, and they understand that this world is a better place without her.
Oh, my God.
I mean, wow.
A lifetime of resentment.
First off,
Man, that is a diss track written in obituary form.
yeah. I mean, and her face alone. This sweet old woman who
Yeah,
has
look at her.
hurt
Like-
so many people. And
Clearly not her children.
when I read this, my thought was why? Like why are you putting that out there?
Why air your dirty laundry in
it's like
the
one of
local paper?
It's like one of those people who say I don't care so often that you realize how much you dwell on this if you don't care.
Right.
So there's no amount of like, okay, I now have peace because you've done this. You don't walk away going, there. That settles it. No.
Right.
Do you not, though?
No. I think you feel good.
Do you not, though?
I think you feel good about what you did, but I don't think that it helps you heal.
Okay.
So obviously Jay and Gina, I'm guessing those are their names, right?
Yeah.
Jay and Gina have some pain.
I agree to a point. I agree that writing something like this is not going to make you feel better, and that seeing it in your local paper is not going to make you feel like, you know what, everything that happened to me, it feels okay now. But seeing the morning news talk about it and seeing it go viral
Right.
And
Now
seeing
the
it become a
entire world
hashtag, that is as good as it gets.
Knows what a dirtbag your mom was.
That's right.
I don't think they thought this would go viral because it's not it's not juicy enough to be like, this will definitely go viral.
Yeah.
It's subtle. It's a subtle sting. It's still there, especially that last line.
They understand the world is a better place
without her. Yeah.
Let me tell you something, Gina and Jay. Everything goes viral today. So, yeah, absolutely this was going to go viral.
I mean, yeah, in a way, I can't help but think that, I mean, obviously somebody thinks somewhere along the line, what if this got picked up and this became a big thing? Like, that's great. Yeah. I don't think they were planning on this, but if your intent here was to slander your poor mother Kathleen's name, mission accomplished.
Yeah. Well, and they did it in their own newspaper. I think you do that where in Springfield, where she lived, so that those old people read it and go, "Oh wow, I thought she was a nice woman."
Yeah, she's a nice old lady.
No, she is not. That's that I can see. Make sure everyone knows what a horrible person that she was. If anything, I would pay to have it come out before she actually died. Mm-hmm. That's better than this. If you're going for a sting, like, oh, she didn't die, oops. Yeah. Never mind. But to me, it just seemed like a waste of time, effort, and energy.
But we don't really know. I mean, maybe the town where these guys are from, everybody was like, maybe. We don't even know if people knew Kathleen was their mom. Maybe they were like the children abandoned at, their grandparents' door. So they were like, we're going to put, the right words and we're going to bring justice by our own hands. But still, I don't know.
Gina and Jay seem like the kinds of people that every time Mother's Day and Father's Day rolls around, they get really bitter. They're like, oh, well, I'm glad you have a mom for Mother's Day. That seems like the kind of people that they are. And I'm like, oh, dear God, here comes Gina and Jay. Nobody talk about Mother's Day or Father's Day because these couple.
Yeah, you might.
Yeah,
you might.
Christmas. Oh, I'm glad your family had a great time. My mom ran off with my dad's brother. And,
my dad's brother.
Yeah,
Lord.
Hey, classy. If Jerry Springer was around back then, she would have been a classic case.
Yeah, absolutely. Hashtag justice for Gina and Jay.
One thing's for sure. Can we all agree? Kathleen was a free spirit.
Yeah. She loved who she loved.
That's right, and I respect the hustle.
Can't hold her down,
even if it was at the expense of your own children.
Yeah, so. Love is love. Take a quick break. When we come back, we have Seth Dennison in studio talking about a medical bill that he received that we think is outrageous. Tell you about that coming up next on the Lunch Break Show.
My goodness.
How's everybody doing? My name is Mr. Wacky. Welcome to the inflatable run.
Give Mr. Wacky a nice round of applause, everybody. Mr. Wacky, this is an honor, first of all.
Well, thank you. We are local San Diegans, so we're proud to be here, everybody, on this wonderful, beautiful Saturday morning. Welcome, San Diego!
Yeah, good morning, you guys. This is so much fun here. First of all, it's like a 5K, but not really. It's longer than a 5K, right?
Well, yes, each participant has the option to do a 1 mile lap as many times as they want. We're out here trying to get families off the couch. We're a family-owned business throwing events for families in San Diego. So we're really excited to be here. We have all kinds of attractions behind us and a course that families can run as many times as they want with inflatables on them.
Yeah, this is great, you guys.
Dear God.
Mr. Wacky.
Mr. Wacky is the guy that called his mom. Mom, I made it. I'm going to be on TV today.
You think he got the
Tune in."
Class Clown Award, Mr. Wacky?
I hope so. Otherwise, he is super depressed.
Is there another bit to that, Zach?
Not that I've got queued up.
Okay,
Yeah, there's a little bit more, but I don't have it.
That was a total of like a 3 or 4 minute segue over what should have been a 30-second inflatables fun run story.
A horribly failed bit.
Yeah, good.
Courtesy of KUSA.
I love watching live TV and just the slow car crash of a segment. We have in studio Seth Dennison. Hello there, Seth.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Is that me playing there?
I don't know. I am hearing sound from somewhere, but I'm not sure where it's coming from. It's
Interestingly enough, my nickname, Mr. Wacky.
Oh, wow.
No, I'm kidding.
Is that is your phone up?
Oh, that's me.
There we go. We found it.
Track that. Usually it's us.
I'm not the technical guy, so here I come in with the widget that throws the whole thing.
So,
no worries.
So were you a class clown? Is that what you were
actually
saying?
wasn't? No, I was not the class clown.
Saying nothing about you says class clown to me. Like most likely to succeed. Those things I see. The guy, the captain of the baseball team. Those kind of things I can see happening. Not
how much of that was accurate?
The captain of the baseball team was accurate.
Okay.
Not the most likely to succeed.
He calls him like he sees him.
Yeah. So we have David. We have Seth Dennison, who is the co-founder of GDP, and it's weird that you work in the healthcare space,
right?
And then I was reading through LinkedIn, like I tend to do it every night, kind of going through and getting caught up on my stories.
You read LinkedIn every night?
Yeah.
Really?
It's chock full of good information.
And you say
don't?
you were the class clown, please.
Sir, I grew up a lot. My wife has helped me become the chiseled man that I am today, not the wreck that she found me in cargo shorts and a baseball hat 12 years ago.
Sure. Anyway, sorry. LinkedIn.
Yes. And then I was reading your story about your youngest child.
Mm-hmm.
Can you mind going and jumping in and telling that story?
Yeah. So earlier this year, the flu was going around Dallas-Fort Worth pretty heavily, and my youngest daughter had contracted the stomach flu. Normal process, take her to the pediatrician. Pediatrician got concerned after a couple of days, saying, hey, listen, her dehydration is at a max level. We probably need to get her into Children's Hospital. Just, precautionary, just to monitor her and get an IV in her, just because she wasn't able to hold any fluids down. So, anytime it's your kid,
sure,
right? It's interesting. We do healthcare consulting and strategic advising, but when it comes to your kid, you become the worst consumer of healthcare known to man, right? You're like, whatever it takes, let's go. So immediately we rushed her to Children's. They admitted her for observation, and we were in the hospital less than 24 hours. They put a couple of IV bags into her, and she was rocking and ready to go again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then so this happened as well, so this similar story. This happened as well to my mom. She had some pains, had to go in. They wanted to keep her overnight, but they didn't give her anything but a couple of Advil, and she stayed in the room overnight and was on observation. So she had the little monitors on.
Sure.
But as far as actual drugs, it was 2 Advil. And then just observation. Mm-hmm. And just like you were, she was shocked at what the bill came out to be.
Yeah, because this is what I do, and I review these things all the time. Sure. I kind of expected something, what I would consider to be outrageous, something around $5,000 or $6,000 bill. The $16,000 bill that came in was a bit absurd. And again, this is something that we're constantly looking at and harping on, and the shows that we do and the discussions that we have. But when it hits you just right between the eyes, you're going, well, wait a minute, hold on. 23 hours, right? Mm-hmm. Less than 23 hours, actually. 2 intravenous bags, I think, is what they used, and cost $1 to produce one of those things.
Yeah.
Not to say that the doctors and nurses that came in aren't great people and did a great job taking care of our daughter. And again, my doctor tells me to put her in a hospital again. I'm going to do it again.
Yeah.
But we've come to a place where the system is absolutely at a critical tilt. when less than 1 day's work without any surgery or major medicine costs $16,000 to survive.
So when I assume you looked at the bill, or whatever the itemized portion of it was, what was it that was so expensive, or was there any one thing that you think, oh gosh, they're just tacking this on?
It wasn't. It was a mixture of observations and things, and this is something we're seeing. Again, I'll put my hat on of not Arabella's daddy, but just kind of the strategist in the room. When we look at these bills, it is absurd of what we are seeing when you do get into the detailed bill, of which most of the time people don't get. Right, you have to actually request that oftentimes from the hospital to see what they're charging you for. But one of the things that we always find is interesting is latex gloves. Right, so latex gloves. There's 3 sizes: small, medium, large. Every day that you're in the hospital will charge you for 3 boxes of latex gloves.
3 whole boxes.
3 whole boxes.
When they may have used a couple when they were.
That's right. And the average charge that they're charging, we're seeing, is about $125 a box.
Wow.
For something you can buy at Costco for. Yeah, not much.
Yeah.
So again, this is just plays into it, and the reality is, as we start to look at this, the saddest part of this is that because there's insurance and people have insurance and they pay their deductibles and their co-pays, they don't even think about what's going on behind the scenes. But what translates is their health insurance premiums, right? So that $16,000 bill is getting financed. It's getting financed through my health insurance premiums over time. And while my deductible and out-of-pocket maximum might have only been $6,000 or $7,000, by the time we're all said and done here, there will be $16,000 financed somewhere, and Blue Cross isn't going to lose money on me, so it's going to come back through my health insurance premiums for the next 10 to 15 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those deals. So my mom had a similar thing when she got her bill. I want to say it was around $7,000 or $8,000 for a night. And she was like, first off, this is not the Ritz-Carlton, but they were charging her $75 per Advil. And they weren't like super strength Advil. They were just the regular buy 'em at CVS Advil. And they charged $75 per. And so when she asked about that, they said, well, this, because of the way that it's done here, a lot of people don't pay their bill. And so they price it the way that they price it because they know the return on what they get. If one person pays out of 10, that covers those 10 that didn't pay. Right. And so is there any truth to that? And that, like the system being so broken that hospitals are have to pay this exorbitant rate to cover the people who don't pay.
I think there's limited truth to that. And the reason I say there's limited truth to that is more than 90% of all Americans have health insurance. So because they have health insurance, the health insurance is going to pick up the largest foot of the bill and just finance that out back to you in premiums, as we discussed earlier. So there's this large talk about the uninsured population in the United States and how much that costs hospitals and all of this. It's such a fractional piece of the puzzle. But even at that, I can buy a lot of Advil for $75. So it just doesn't transcribe to the numbers that we're seeing of people that can't pay their bill for them to charge what they do for those that can.
Well, and it's weird, the people that I know that are even in like healthcare, they're doctors, they're nurses, they were going into the hospital for planned operations. They were going in and they were bringing their own like Advil and Tylenol, which obviously the hospital discourages.
Absolutely.
They're like, no, I'm not paying $75 for an Advil. I have my own. I'm good. Thank you. And so it's weird, like, because they were aware of what the bill came out to be. Whereas most of the time, when you're going into the emergency room, like you said, you don't have a choice. You feel like I have to go here. I am in a state of emergency,
right,
to where I have to go in. So price gouging needs to sorry.
You can call it what it is. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. So, but it feels a lot like price gouging to me. And for me, I hate it, but at the same time, I enjoy it when I see the bill, because I always ask for an itemized bill, and because I have insurance, all of a sudden my $800 operation or $800 whatever procedure is down to like $2,000.
Right.
Just because I had insurance, they lower the bill significantly, sometimes even by up to half.
Yeah, and this is part of the shell game, though, right? And so I'm overly cynical. Sure. But when you look at the way the insurance companies operate, again, the whole idea and the whole structure of insurance originally back in the early 1900s was when insurance companies started to negotiate these PPO networks. Effectively, if we steer people to you, if we bring people to your hospital or your practice, you're going to discount your services. And that was all good and well for 60, 70 years until the introduction of co-pays and co-insurances. And then we saw private equity money move into medicine, right? So, in 2008, we had the too big to fail around banks. Too big to fail now is in healthcare.
Yeah.
It's the world that we live in now. Hospitals continue to grow, and they're buying up practices and ancillary services. And so what happens is, as I mentioned earlier, there's so few people that don't have health insurance. Steerage doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
So what happens is when insurance companies go into negotiations with hospitals, they no longer say, what are you going to discount your services for me for this service? They're going to say, hey, what kind of profit margin do you guys need to make? We need to show that we're showing some value and discounting some services. So you want to make $2,000? Let's start at $4,000. We can tell the public that we're giving a 50% discount off of our services.
Yeah.
So I tell people all the time when I hear this option, well, Blue Cross has a better discount than United, than Cigna, and all of this. And I said, discounts don't matter. Price does. At the end of the day, they can tout the discounts all they want. What are we spending on these services? Because that's what matters. And the more that people become more knowledgeable about that, well, they might bring their own Advil to the hospital.
I'm not going to be so naive as to say, how do we fix this? Because I know that's a bigger question than we have time to get into.
It's a longer show, yeah.
But for an individual in your situation where they were in the hospital for less than a day, it was a relatively minor procedure. I mean, you're just putting an IV bag in, so it's really not as complicated as other people's. What is your recourse here? I mean, or is it just you get the bill and you're stuck with it, and hopefully your insurance will pick up their portion of it, but otherwise you're paying for whatever your deductible, whatever you have to pay on your deductible, and that's the rest of it.
Yeah, sadly, the way that the system is structured right now, there's not much recourse once the service has been rendered. There's just not much anybody can do, especially if they use insurance, because if you use your insurance, you're contractually bound to the contract that Blue Cross has with that provider, and that's part of the overall agreement. In the bigger, grander scheme of things, I think the thing that we can do is just be better consumers as Americans, right? Understand these things going into it, understand how the system works, and that, I say this oftentimes, diseases don't have an economic agenda. Those that treat diseases do. Mm-hmm. So, and this isn't to shame doctors or hospitals or nurses. We need all of these folks, but we need to be a better consumer as Americans in understanding this. And from a government regulatory standpoint, we need to get to a place where we have a higher level of transparency requirement. Healthcare is the only area that I'm aware of in the economic structure of the United States where you can have thousands upon even hundreds of thousands of dollars charged to you without you knowing beforehand.
Yep.
And there's no transparency. There's no way to know before I go in which hospital is going to give me the better deal. And we've got to get to a place where regulatorily we require that.
Could you have said after the fact, I don't want to claim this on my insurance. Can I pay cash, and can we work out a deal? It's
tough to do once it's toothpaste is out of the tube. It's hard to kind of put it back in, right? So that's the challenge. And so I could have gone in and claimed not to have insurance, but then the challenge that I run there, or the risk that I run there, is maybe the care that I got wasn't going to be as good because now they're fearful that maybe I can't pay.
That you're going to skate out on the bill.
That's exactly right. So I always tell people, if you have a procedure that's non-emergency based, that hey, I got time to research this a little bit, research it and say, hey, listen, if I didn't have insurance, what does this cost? Or call back a second time and ask those questions. What's a cash pay price? Oftentimes you'll find it's a better deal.
Yeah.
Seth, I thank you so much for coming on. Again, that's Seth Dennison. He is the co-founder of GDP. Go online, look him up. You're always available to talk and chat if you have any questions about the healthcare industry and how to save a buck or two doing that. Thank you so much. We're coming right back. A breakfast staple, IHOP, is going away. We'll tell you more about that coming up next. And we are back on the Lunch Break Show. I am Josh. Again, you can follow us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday right here from 12 to 1. We're on YouTube. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. All of those are live. And then after that, you can find the audio-only sections of our shows wherever you get your podcast from, whether that's iTunes, Alexa, Google Play, iHeartRadio app. Any of those places, we are there, and many, many more. Thank you. Please like, follow, and subscribe. Last to wrap up the show, it would not be a lunch break show without some food news, and a breakfast staple. A breakfast staple, IHOP, is going away, and taking its place is the rather oddly named IHOB.
IHOB. How do you spell that?
IHOB. So IHOP was IHOP for the International House of Pancakes,
Oh,
and now and this is a rebranding. Is that right, Zach?
Yeah, sorry. I was just why do I have the inside scoop on IHOB? Yes.
Well,
you brought it up to me.
No, Matt brought it up. I didn't do it.
Oh, well, we both know that. Oh, fine, I'll take it.
Please. No,
yes, I
okay,
believe
go
it is I believe they pitched it as a rebranding. They simply say we're changing it to IHOB. We'll tell you what the B means on Monday.
Right.
Which clearly this is the worst idea ever.
Lowercase b.
Yeah,
it
it's a
doesn't
lowercase.
roll off the tongue as easily.
IHOB. IHOP. And clearly the B stands for breakfast because that's the only thing they serve there. It has to. If it doesn't, then they're bigger idiots than this is. Like this, it has to be breakfast.
Is it?
Name one other thing that's a B that it could be that would make sense.
Bacon.
They're not international. No, that would be awesome.
Badass.
Badass. Like
so
that.
this rebranding is on par with as bad as Radio Shack. God rest him. Radio Shack's rebranding of Radio Shack to just the Shack.
The Shack.
To keep those cool millennial kids coming in.
Where do you go to get the hottest technology?
The
A shack. A shack in the woods.
I mean, just a bad idea that just got worse, and no one stopped it. No one had the audacity to go, "This is a horrible idea."
Are you referring to the Shack or IHOB?
Both. Both. IHOP, because again, IHOP is just known. It's a classic thing. Like you can change what you do, but you're still the International House of Pancakes. Own the market. You know who's licking their lips right now? The Waffle House.
Oh yeah.
Going yes.
They'll be like,
stumble.
Yeah, we're still serving waffles here.
Yeah.
All right. Can I offer a lukewarm defense of IHOP?
Please.
Here it is. Matt, get ready with the America music.
I got it.
You got it?
Perfect.
Okay, hold on.
All right, here it is. IHOP is what? Is it a word? No, it's an acronym, all right? It is short for International House of Pancakes, and anybody who's ever passed an IHOP sign, and all of us have, know that. It is short for something bigger, something greater. It's greater than the sum of its parts. And if IHOP is anything, it is a well-known household acronym. And for people out there who know IHOP, they don't think of breakfast? Well, I guess you do. You don't think of eggs. You don't think of sausage. You think of pancakes. The International House of Pancakes. When you take out the P and you swap it with something else, what are you doing? You're taking the strongest part of your marketing and you're selling it to people out there. You're saying, no longer will we be IHOP, but we will be IHOB. And in a way, I respect that. So thank you, IHOP, for making me and everybody on the lunch break, all of you, better people. I appreciate it. I'm still stuck on Anna's shot. Nope, that's still there. It is.
Yes.
You had it, and then you totally fell at the end.
I choked bad. I'm sorry.
Again, I think America agrees with me. This is a horrible
idea. I can't understand the reasoning behind it. Is it because you don't want to just be associated with pancakes? Well, you're not just associated with breakfast either. I mean, they serve more stuff than just breakfast.
I think Matt or Zach, whichever one of you guys, had the idea before that they got so much coverage out of this. That could be it. Like, hey, we're just not making the news. And when we are making the news, it's because people brought guns into our facility with no clothes on. So that's been a couple of headlines, have been some problems at IHOPs in the past. So now we're no longer IHOP, we're IHOB.
Yeah. Right. Like Denny's cut like a multi-million-dollar deal with Disney to get like 6 exclusive limited-time menu items for Solo: A Star Wars Story. Nobody cares. IHOP rattles off a tweet about IHOB, and it's like national news. Like it gets huge. So for what it's worth,
it worked. It's dumb, and hopefully it's a bit.
Well, is it a health thing? Is it like people, they don't want to be associated with with breakfast cakes. So they then say, well, we're just serving breakfast. We're not just serving these pancakes that are covered in syrup in there. And in that way, it reminds me of Kentucky Fried Chicken when they changed to KFC. Like, you didn't know the F stand for fried, idiot.
Stands for friends.
I'm sorry. They tried to say what was it? Kentucky Fresh Chicken or Country Fresh Chicken?
Yeah.
Kitchen Fresh Chicken. That's what it was. That's what they tried to claim it was. Like, anybody looks at KFC and thinks Kitchen Fresh Chicken. It's fried chicken.
Yeah.
It's pancakes, you idiot.
But at least they stayed true to it. Like before, it was the International House of Pancakes. They wanted to say the whole thing. Going from that to IHOP was smart.
Wait a minute. Are they international, Anna? Do they have international houses of pancakes?
Sure. I have never heard about them until I came here.
Really? Until you came to this room or to the U.S.? Okay.
To the U.S. No, come on, Matt.
No.
Come on. No, I have been driving by and seeing IHOP. I've seen it.
And I'll bet you wondered, what does IHOP stand for?
I had no idea.
Yep.
I
but
was.
In true America style, we just say we're international because we're American. And if it's here, then by God, it better be everywhere else.
Right. A-hop doesn't sound as cool.
I guess if you put it on movies and the movies go international, I guess that's their thought. But no.
I just, to squash your theory of the healthcare thing, no one goes to IHOP who's concerned with health.
Yeah.
Just period.
Or food.
Yeah. You go to IHOP because it's cheap and it's easy and you've been on the road for a while and the next Cracker Barrel isn't for another like 40 miles.
Yeah.
That's why you go to IHOP. You understand your brand. It's not going to be people who care that you're the International House of Breakfast. It's just you're there.
They're fancy now.
Yeah.
Right. To piggyback on the health thing, I was trying to eat healthier earlier this year. Went great. And I found out very quickly at IHOP, you can't order an omelet like you can at other places because IHOP puts their pancake batter in their omelets.
Really?
Yeah. It's like the secret ingredient. That's how it gets so like light and fluffy. They use a little bit of pancake batter.
That's fascinating.
So if you're into that, great.
Idea.
But as far as the health is concerned, yeah, it's not the greatest.
Why are you trying to eat healthy at IHOP? That's the main
desperate
problem.
times, Josh. Desperate times call for desperate measures.
Unless it was the only place in miles and miles.
Yeah.
There, nah.
So with that, on that bombshell, we're gonna let you go. Come back on
House of Bombshells.
Yeah, gonna come back on Friday. We'll be on pins and needles waiting for the B release from IHOP to see what it is. It's gonna be breakfast. If it's not, I'll pull all my hair out. Not really. Coming up next, we'll be on Friday. See you guys then. I am Josh, Matt, Zach, and Anna. Thank you guys so much. Have a phenomenal day and enjoy yourself.